Okay, so this is the follow-up on the previous little slideshow of 7.1. So 7.2, we're going to look at the elemental cost analysis method, and specifically the element up to elemental level. So please take note that this method is a method also connected to the detailed methods, where we actually work on up to the component level and not just the elemental level of estimation. So we're going to cover this in a little bit more detail in our next section of when we look at the detailed methods. But going on, this method divides a building into certain elements. It is still average tariff method, which is not 100% accurate. Again, it was developed in the UK and brought to South Africa in 1958. The building units that make up the elemental analysis are divided in and priced separately to increase their accuracy. So the main thing is you're just building up, dividing the building into certain sections, but it is linked to the accurate methods of measurement. So the building elements are then combined, which can be used irrespective of specifications and type of the construction. Okay, the building cost of the total cost of the building is thus calculated from the sum of all the applicable elements to make up your cost. So you don't have special factors that you have to factor in. So you build up your rates by actually measuring each item and getting a elemental tariff that you can use for the different sections. It is measured in the plane it occurs in. So for instance, strip footings is measured in meters, and your surface beds is measured in square meters, for instance. So it just puts it in a much more logical way, the way of measurement. Okay, so the advantages: it follows a logical departure point, and it is relatively simple, more accurate than the previous methods again. And although more items have to be priced, it does not take much more time than this story or the story enclosure method. Okay, it is accurate enough to use in the early stages of the project. It can be linked with single price methods as well with the detailed methods. Okay, so that's the big advantage, is it can be linked with your detailed methods. Information is reflected in an understandable way, and it is suitable for cost planning and cost control. Can be used for both sophisticated and unsophisticated users. Spatial and cost planning can be done at the same time. Historical data is needed. So the disadvantage is you have to have historical data to base your calculations on, and obviously you need to use your discretion when using that tariffs. Some elements are difficult to interpret, impossible in some cases, and price. Thus sometimes what's nice about this method is you can actually add additional items as needed. Again, for instance, your air conditioning you can add as an additional cost. It is more intricate and time consuming than the previous methods. Okay. Possible applications: the disadvantage is not fundamental and mainly limited to pricing. This disadvantage can be overcome by applying comprehensive methods for these items. It can be used on both sketch plans as well as detailed sketch plans. It is suitable for detailed construction drawings because not all elements are catered for. The elements can be joined or subdivided to suit. The building sections entail preparation, building external works, and unforeseen expenses. Okay, so now you can see that pardon me, for this method, external works and preparations, and all of these items are actually allowed for. So it doesn't necessarily form an extra over, but it forms part of the calculation. Okay. These sections can then be divided into subdivisions under structures, structure and finishes, accessories, services, and section of external works, into subsections of external works and site services, etc. Okay, so here's a little example of elemental estimate. This is one that we've done a while ago. So you can see what you basically have is you have your primary elements, your specialist installations, equipment, tenant installations, alterations, external works and services. You have your P's and G's here, and you can see it's a much more comprehensive way of measurement. Okay, so obviously then you calculate your construction contingency on top of that. You add your VAT to that, and then you get your estimate, which is much more accurate, and then from that you have your areas that you can calculate your areas with. And you will see there's a little section that I cut off here because this is part of the component level that will be included when you get into more accurate method. So just going to the different elements or components, so you can see each of those different elements that I've shown you in the previous slide is then divided into your substructures, your ground floor, structural frame, external works, your roofs, internal divisions, partitions, floor finishes, etc. Okay, so you can see much more accurate and caters for much more information to be included. Okay, so this is usually how you build up your estimate. I didn't include the special installations and so forth, but your primary items is calculated here, and then you've got your quantities here, and you have your rate that you've calculated from your previous buildings, and then you times that with your costs to get to your total estimate for the project. So the substructure was estimated to be a value of 189,000 for the specific project. Okay, so you can see the component level goes up to this section, and then when we get into our detailed methods, each subsection is then divided even further into different sections. So your substructures will have all its components built into it further down. Okay, thanks. That concludes our second section of this lecture. The next little slideshow, we're going to look at our parametric system.